Tonight on CTV, an update on the presidential primary results.
And how DIA is taking precautions to prevent the coronavirus.
Then, how an organization on campus received a prestigious award. All this and more on CTV News 11. Good evening, I'm Janae Hancock.
And I'm Gisele Beir. Today is Super Tuesday, and for the first time in Colorado in 20 years, there's a statewide presidential primary.
That's right, Gisele. By 10 o'clock this morning, nearly 95,000 Lamar County voters casted their ballots. And on campus, students voted in the Durrell Dining Center, where reporter Alexandria Colon is live. Alexandria, just how important is this day?
Thanks, Janae and Gisele. Super Tuesday is one of the most important days in the Democratic primary as over 15 states vote. Students made their way to voting centers on campus to cast their vote as well. It's Super Tuesday, and many Americans are heading to the polls to pick their presidential candidate.
It's an important thing in our democracy, and I think it's great that everyone's coming out to vote for it. You know, for me, I would obviously like to see President Trump win re-election again. But again, November 3rd is a big day, so I encourage your friends, family, to go out there and vote.
Primary is our chance to save our democracy and to get things right. Primary, obviously, we want to see Bernie Sanders in the White House. We want to see a complete transformation in this country.
Students who voted today thought it was important to vote in today's primary election because
voting for me means getting the opportunity to kind of share your voice in a way that, can be impactful. For me, it's just kind of giving a new level of freedom and, democracy.
It's important to vote because we have a lot at stake, especially the climate issues and a lot of wealth inequality.
I feel like now more than ever, the integrity of our democracy is at stake. I think it's really important for us to speak out, let everyone know that we're not going to go down without a fight.
Angela Myers, and she expects Larimer County to have a huge turnout. This year's unaffiliated voters are allowed to vote, and CSU plays a big role in getting that voter turnout.
CSU is always one of our most busy locations in the state, so that's always pretty impressive. I think we're going to hold our own, I really do.
Alexandria, do you have any results?
Looks like Bernie Sanders is projected to win Colorado, but early to call. We'll have more results as time goes on at about 7:30.
Thank you, Alexandria. A man who was killed in a motorcycle crash on Thursday has been identified as 36-year-old Aaron Hoopman II, from Yorkville, Illinois. The crash happened off of Rock Creek Drive and Corbett Drive. Police say Hoopman failed to yield at the roundabout and crashed into the center median.
34-year-old Michael Dye, who accidentally started a fire in his Fort Collins home that killed one person and injured two others, was sentenced to supervised probation. Police say Dye tried to start a fire in an indoor fireplace. He poured gas on the logs to light it, which ended up catching the house and Dye himself on fire. He was sentenced to 3 years supervised probation and 300 hours of community service.
A Windsor man charged of killing his girlfriend surpassed the background check to buy a gun after a mandatory protection order was filed against him. 35-year-old Cayman Morgan shot 37-year-old Bria Biondello back in February. Court orders found a pattern of abuse that began in April of 2018. Under the law, Morgan should not have been able to buy a gun. However, police have not said how they believe he obtained a gun.
The bill to repeal the death penalty in Colorado has cleared after a 38-27 vote Wednesday afternoon. The measure was passed its third reading after an 11-hour debate period and more than 5 hours of emotional testimony from lawmakers. Those opposing the bill said families of victims would find it hard to get closure if the death penalty is not an option. Supporters of the bill said that there are other options that are more cost-effective than capital punishment.
Denver International Airport is taking precautions to keep their planes clean and passengers safe while the coronavirus is still a threat. They are now providing sanitary wipes in the jet bridges to allow passengers to sanitize their seats and tray tables. While DIA is not one of the airports to be screened by the Center for Disease Control, they say they will continue reviewing their practices to best reduce the spread of germs.
A national real estate company has purchased 245 acres in Northwest Loveland for a 900-home community. The property was sold for $4 million and will build single-family homes. The land will likely be developed into multiple phases.
Colorado State University's Airforce ROTC detachment was recently presented with the highest honor after winning the prestigious Right of Line Award. The determination has paid off with Colorado State University's new recognition.
Very proud to give this to you, ma'am, on behalf of all of Airforce ROTC.
Thank you so much.
A graduating student here at CSU is proud to be a part of what is now considered the best ROTC detachment in the country.
Feels pretty rewarding, considering like the work that we put in, especially on the POC side, like the stuff we do for a job that we have in the detachment and stuff. It feels good that our work has been recognized, and that, especially for like the whole detachment as a whole, that we like the PT, the grades, and the commitment outside of ROTC. It feels good that it paid off, and that it's been recognized by big Air Force.
The ROTC program stresses the core values of the Air Force, which prepares their students for the real world in the field.
And so we all have clear understanding and idea of what needs to be done, and so like we know what to operate in, and what if we are falling short, they talk to us and be like, okay, like what do you need to do? And so they're really supportive, and they really help us grow and become better.
Miles says the Mighty 90 family is built on partnership and perfecting leadership skills.
It pushes you to be better and be more professional and to grow as a leader. Compare myself from like freshman year to now, I've grown a lot.
With the help from alumni and friends of the university to improve facilities, ROTC plans to continue to benefit future seniors at CSU.
There are currently 52 schools in the Poudre School District, with a new one that will make it 53. Reporter Allison Tackett has more about why the school will be unique. Allison?
That's right, Gisele. The new elementary school will be built in Loveland. Here's what you can do to get involved with the process.
Poudre School District is seeking name recommendations for the new Loveland Elementary School that will open in fall 2021. The school, funded through Poudre School District's 2016 bond money, will be the first PSD school in Loveland city limits. The district already owns the land located off Larimer County Road 5 and the Ranch Events Complex. The estimated 75,000 square foot building is set to hold 600 students. Per district policy, elementary schools must be named after a local person who has made a significant contribution to local public education. Some naming examples include someone associated with elementary, middle, and high school education, someone with a central office assignment, Board of Education members, volunteers, or teachers. Allison Tackett, CTV, Channel 11.
To submit a name recommendation, you can fill out the district's online recommendation form at psdschools.org. Submissions will be accepted through March 31st.
That is definitely a really creative way for the community to get involved with the school.
Yes, I definitely agree, Janae. Well, speaking of schools, Jeffrey, I heard you went to a school and found some scientists, so while you were there.
Yeah, you know, Gisele, I did. They were extremely smart and made science seem like magic. Don't miss it after the break.
I am what hunger looks like in America. I am an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for the last day of school. Because this may be the last time I'll have lunch. Till September. I am a single father of 2 who works 3 part-time jobs. And that's still not enough to put food on the table. I am a 16-year-old boy who just got my first job. To help feed my little sisters. I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew they were hungry.
Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Hey everyone, welcome along. I'm Jeffrey Lindblom, and yeah, once again, I'm here to tell you a few stories. Plot twist, there's no beer this week. Honestly, without it, I feel a bit lost. Regardless, here goes nothing. An organization here in Colorado is changing lives through music. The nonprofit Bringing Music to Life is doing, well, just that. The team has been helping underfunded musical programs by repairing and rehoming instruments, giving them to Colorado students who wouldn't be able to play otherwise. This is the 10th year of the instrument drive, and the organization estimates it's impacted roughly 15,000 students so far. Over 5,000 instruments have been donated across the 10-year span, which values more than $2 million. According to Executive Director Steve Blatt, studies show that music has a positive impact on learning in children. So, hey, if you have a dusty guitar up in the attic, even if it doesn't strum, the organization would love to get it in tune with someone who does. Last week, I spoke about a cat named Oreo, who roamed around the Armstrong Hotel for 16 years, before unfortunately passing away February 22nd. The hotel's cocktail lounge, Ace Gillette's, remembered Oreo by hosting a celebration of life for her this last Sunday. A modified menu honored the longtime hotel-friendly cat with 2 items, the Cat's Meow cocktail and, naturally, an Oreo cheesecake. To no surprise, the lounge also kept plenty of vanilla and chocolate Oreos around for patrons to snack on. Some caring guests shared their condolences by bringing along cards, flowers, and photos to show how Oreo touched their lives personally. Hotel General Manager George Prine said many people remembered Oreo for her unique way of seemingly making concerns drift away in her presence. Last Saturday, I wanted to experiment with something. I concocted a plan, mixed that plan in some vials and stuff, felt pretty sciencey, and poof, there I was at a science fair.
This is the Little Shop of Physics, an event that
It's good.
showcases
Yeah,
knickknacks and gadgets created by CSU students for all ages to tinker with and enjoy.
Former students of mine from back in the day are coming, and people are coming. We're just all doing science and exploring and experimenting, and we're all discovering our inner scientist.
The team is dedicated to inspire youth to get involved in the scientific community, and what better way than to fiddle with the most top-notch gizmos.
So we open up a lot of experiments for people in the public, especially children, to come around and just learn more about science, get interested in physics.
We want to make it engaging, accessible, exciting. Science is for you. Discover your inner scientist. We're all about that. And my best ambassadors for that, of course, are the Colorado State University students.
This was the 29th anniversary for the Little Shop of Physics, which means 29 years worth of travel around Colorado and the world. But the science fair is always sure to stop back on by the home roots.
But once a year, we pull out all of our toys and we host everybody in the surrounding area, and it's fantastic.
There's one toy that has been around and held on strong since the very beginning.
It's called the Phantom Light Bulb, and it came on the road the first time it went on the road. It's been at every single open house. Probably 700,000 people have had a chance to play with it.
700,000 is a huge number, but the team is always adding on new installments for people to fidget with come the next year.
Shooting magic! This is my spit!
You know, being a part of the science fair shed a light on youth interacting with science to a degree of interest, curiosity, and fun. Witnessing that genuinely made for a really cool experience that I was pretty happy to be a part of. Speaking of curiosity, I hope you're just as eager to see what this week's deep dive into YouTube, Instagram, Vimeo, Facebook, Twitter, all of the above turned up, because there can only be one. This week was tough, but here's this week's viral video. That's going on, what looked to be something coming off of the right-hand side. It might have looked like snow, but no, it's actually a rabbit here trekking about, sending it right on into the avalanche. You might be worried about him, but not to worry too much because he actually made it all the way through onto the other side. But crazy stuff. Anyways, that's all I've got for you this week. Hopefully time flies as fast as that rabbit can run, so I can see you all again soon. But don't go anywhere just yet. Sophia Ridley has your weekly weather report coming up next.
Dad?
Just 1 minute, okay?
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Good evening, Fort Collins. I'm Sophia with tonight's weather. Let's get a look at tonight's current conditions. As you can see, it's about 44 degrees and the winds are about 7 miles per hour with about 40% humidity, so it is a little bit chilly out there. The sunset right about 6:30 tonight. And let's take a look across campus. As you can see, it was absolutely gorgeous out there. Blue skies, the sun was shining, the birds were singing. Everyone's having a wonderful day. People had their pets out on campus. I mean, look at this adorable little guy soaking up the sun. People were outside being able to study and enjoy the sun while it was out. And honestly, guys, great news. Even though it's a little bit breezy out this week, it's going to be wonderful temperatures. Starting with tonight up in Fort Collins, the tonight's lows, as you go down the I-25 corridor, it's 32 degrees, 29 degrees in Colorado Springs, and 26 in Pueblo. When you look out west in Grand Junction, it's 28, Telluride 25, and then out east, Burlington 26, Lamar 24. And if we look at tomorrow's highs, it's going to be 60 degrees almost across the entire state, which is honestly wonderful, guys. It's going to stick around all week. If you look out towards Grand Junction, 60 degrees, Alamosa almost 60 at 59, Pueblo 67, up in Fort Collins 60 degrees. And then if you look at tomorrow's temperatures, it's going to be 60 degrees and sunny. It's going to be absolutely wonderful. Look, barely any wind. And again, the sun's going to set at 6:30, so the days are finally getting longer and we can soak up the sun all week long. And as we look at the 5-day forecast this week, as you can see, it's going to be absolutely wonderful out. 60 degrees Wednesday, 52 degrees Thursday, 64 degrees Friday, 67 Saturday, and 60 Sunday. So guys, please enjoy the weather while you can. And that's all I have for weather, but the show isn't over just yet. Brendan and Cam, what do you have coming up for sports?
Thanks, Sophia. Coming up next on Primetime Sports, Brendan and I discussed that the Colorado Avalanche have a chance at winning the Western Conference playoffs around the corner.
Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break.
So there you are, shuffling through a stack of resumes and you come to mine. This is it. First impression. My way in. But here's the thing. Can my resume show you how I truly stand out? Can one piece of paper really tell you my whole story? Like that I was studying, going to night school while working 2 jobs just to help my parents pay for groceries. Or how anytime there was an opportunity, I was the first one to step up. Because I wasn't gonna let my life, my circumstances dictate who I was gonna become. And all of that determination, the commitment, the drive, that's me. And that's something you just can't put on paper. Look beyond the resume, discover new ways to develop great talent like me.
Welcome back from the break, Rams, and to this week's edition of Primetime Sports. I'm Brendan Fairbairn.
And I'm Cameron Evig, filling in for Erica Johnson. A lot of impressive performances over the last week for CSU basketball. Kinder Moore had 21 points against Airforce on Saturday. And for women's basketball, Mackenzie Ellis had an impressive 19 also against Airforce. Brendan, who did you feel like was doing the most this week?
This week was an easy one. I have to give it to senior forward Nico Carvacho, who was not only doing the most this week against number 5 San Diego State, but for CSU basketball for the last 5 years. Carvacho had 17 points and 7 rebounds against San Diego State last week, and he was the main reason the Rams were only 6 points away from beating the Aztecs. Here we have Isaiah Stevens missing the jump shot, but Carvacho between 3 defenders gets the rebound. What's new?
Oh my.
Puts it in, finishes the job. And now we have Roddy passing it to Carvacho, reading the court, and does a nice pivot move against a 6'10 Yanni Wenzel.
Nico's been doing that for 5 years.
Yep, absolutely. And now we have Chris Martin throwing it to Carvacho in the paint. By the time the defender turns around, the bucket's already down. Carvacho ends the season with second-team All-Mountain West honors, but quite frankly, I feel like he was snubbed from the first one.
Could have been, yeah.
The amount of points he puts in, points and rebounds week in and week out is completely unmatched. But hey, he has bigger accomplishments. He's the all-time leader in the Mountain West with double-doubles and and rebounds.
Yep.
So, sorry, excuse me. So Cameron, who do you think is doing the most this week?
Yeah, for me, Nico Carvacho, obviously a CSU Rams legend, will go down in history. But for me, I have to go with senior Andrea Brady on the CSU women's basketball team. And, she's been doing the most. Annie was named to the Mountain West all-defensive team. And while she's obviously a threat on the defensive end, her offense is not too shabby herself. Last 2 regular season games, last one against Airforce, 20 points and 17 back-to-back. The women's basketball team season sadly ended 2 days ago with a heartbreaking 60-48 loss to rival Airforce in the Mountain West tournament. But with women's basketball ending, that can only mean one thing. It's softball season.
That's right, Cam. With the weather getting somewhat better, we knew this would be a perfect time for a softball Ram Buzz question. So for our first question, we asked Ram Nation what they thought about the rough 9-9 start for the Rams softball compared to last year's 39-12 record. Do you believe the Rams could turn around their season with a first-place victory at Colorado State Classic this weekend? Right here, we have 64% yes, 36% no. Cam, which side are you leaning more towards?
I don't know. It's going to be tough, but if you do look at the CSU, home games can help with the conference win, make some confidence building up, and maybe get them back on track. And for this CSU softball, they have a lot of home games coming up, including this tournament, of course. And, maybe this can not completely out of it. They still have a shot and have opportunities and games to play this season. Also, this gives a chance for those young players on the team to maybe build up their potential, get a little bit more experience, and maybe perform a little bit better next year. Look for maybe a little bit better than that 9-9 start.
I agree.
Best record than all the other teams, though.
Yeah. Kenon State has a losing record. Idaho State, Purdue, they all losing records. Yeah. CSU sits at 500 right now, so they still have it, but they're really going to have to rely on senior Ashley Ruiz, who has 12 RBIs and 16 hits on the season. She leads the team in both categories, and right now, the Rams sit at 6th in the Mountain West Conference. Yeah. I know that has to put a fire in their belly, considering they won it last year, and I know their standards are so high, they're going to want to, the only thing that they're thinking about is back-to-back championships. The Rams have to catch up to San Jose State if they want to repeat as conference champions. The Spartans are currently in first place with a 19-3 record. But Cam, isn't there another Colorado team fighting for first place in their conference?
There sure is. The Colorado Avalanche are currently sitting in second place of the NHL Western Conference. And with the playoffs starting next month, we knew this would be a great Ram Buzz question. So we had to ask our Rams for our second question if they thought the Colorado Avalanche will take the Western Conference, get that first place spot. And wow, looks like we got some great results here. You guys are very confident in our Avalanche. 80% say yes, just 20% saying no. And
as they should. They should be confident because the Avs are on a 7-game win streak despite being riddled with injuries. Starting goalie Grubauer is also out. Starting right wing Mito Randerson, is also out. Yeah. They're gonna have to rely on their second team if they're really gonna make up their push to the first spot. Yeah. Nathan McKinnon, the number 1 player, the center for Colorado Avalanche, has 86 points on the season, but he's been on a kind of a cold streak lately. He only has 1 goal in the last 10 games. They're really gonna have to rely on him to step up if they're gonna make that first seed push. The only team standing in their way is the St. Louis Blues, the defending champions. But the Avs, I feel like they are a team that have the experience, the grit, and they can definitely give the Blues a chance to, for the first seed.
Yeah, they can definitely give the Blues a run for their money, but, what can you say about Nathan McKinnon? He's going to get back on track eventually. You expect him to pick it up just a little bit over these next games and, struggled against the third place Golden Knights, but, they only have to worry about the Blues above them to get that first spot in the conference. Avalanche second in the conference behind the Blues, and just 1 point separates them. They beat St. Louis both times so far, and I believe the Avs, if they can stay healthy, can have a great chance of snagging that top spot. I just wonder who will be the goaltender, if Gruber will get the start once he comes back for the playoffs, or if they're going to keep the goalie they currently have.
Yeah, no, they're definitely in an interesting situation. Pavel Francouz who's replacing Grubauer as now, has a .929 save percentage, while Grubauer has a .916 save percentage. they're really once they're in good hands. If during their playoff run, if one goes down, the other one definitely has it.
Either one is able to step up.
Now it's time for my favorite segment, Can You Do That? Where Cam and I choose 3 plays that make us ask, can anyone else do that? For our first Can You Do That clip, we have Orlando's Magic mascot, Stuff the Magic Dragon, doing an oddly satisfying backflip junk.
I've seen this. This is great. Look at Stuff here. Off the ladder.
Backflip.
Triple H type stuff.
I know.
Still only a 9 for D. Wade, though. Candace Parker would have gave it a 10, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Our second Can You Do That play, we have Jamal Harris, a.k.a. Mr. 50-inch vertical, showing why he earned that nickname, and this one's pretty good, too. Over slow-mo, jumping. Look at this production value.
One-handed.
What a cameraman.
Yep.
Between the legs. One-handed. Absolutely great play from Jamal
Dwayne Wade
there.
will give that one a 10. He has to, right?
Probably.
He's got to. And for our last clip, we have Tom Bubby Broders mixing his timing and golfing skills together.
And look at Bubby here. Look at that fly back and forth. I can't make that. I'm terrible at golf.
Oh, yeah. He should have called Island.
Any of those skills. Should have called Island, absolutely.
But remember, if you're able to do any of these, make sure to show us on Twitter at sports_CTV. We'll make sure to include you on next week's show. I know Cam and I would love to see if anyone could do what we saw tonight.
I think Janae could probably do all 3 of those, knowing how skilled she is in the athletic department. Pretty sure Janae has all of those down, especially.
I love how you all are hyping me up right now. However, I cannot do that. I'm terrible at golf as well. So, what about you?
I played soccer, and that's about it.
Soccer, golf,
It's a no.
same thing, just with a club, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, that's all the time we have tonight, Rams. You can tune in tomorrow night to see the second episode of Local Beats, where Maddie Still and Jason Smith will test out their beatboxing skills. Have a great night.
Me either.